I have 4 of them.
How'd you manage that?
Bought them. Just bought them.
Oh, nice. I've been on the lookout for one of the old school like drugstore spinner racks with the sign that says, "Hey kids, comics."
Yeah, there's a company that reissued, made some new ones.
Oh, very cool.
Pretty cool.
Okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for them.
Okay, we're live now. Oh, sorry, everybody. We're in chat behind the technical difficulties. We're live now. We're here with everybody. This is episode number 4. I got Peter, and we decided to go big early. We have both creators of Killadelphia, Rodney Barnes, writer, and the artist behind all the vampire cruelty you've seen up there, Mr. Jason Shawn Alexander. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Guys, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, out of your week to join us. Really excited to be talking to both of you guys. It's nice to see you both in the same place.
It's a tough one. I think we both have restraining orders on each other. So I don't even know if this is legal, us being in this, this electronic thing.
We're in virtual land now. Who knows what goes and what doesn't there.
This is true. I'm pressing charges, so we continue.
All right. So obviously Killadelphia came back this week. We're getting a little deeper into the lore of the world that you're building together. We kind of got a tease of, the hell landscape in the last arc, and it looks like we're going to be doing a little bit of heaven versus hell this arc. Can you tell us any little tidbits about that?
Yeah. I think you want some semblance of balance. We've seen purgatory. We've seen hell. I don't know how interesting heaven is because I doubt that I'm going. So I think staying on that line of finding some hope in the world, in the Killadelphia universe, is sort of where for the moment we're heading.
Yeah, I think that's something that you both have done excellently, balancing, all the dark themes with the little sprinkles of light in there. And Jason, especially with you, your style is almost, could I even say gothic in a way? It just, very almost like spiritual in a way.
I'll take that. That's fine. I have no idea how to describe what I do. I know when it pertains to the book, I'm really thrilled because I think Rodney has, not only did he bring a really unique
wall of Jason behind me.
Not only did he bring a really great, unique, thing for vampires, but going we're a few issues ahead, and just seeing his way that he's approaching certain story elements and afterlife and all of that, it's different and it's very Rodney, and I love it. It's very interesting. The focus is more on the characters looking versus what they're finding or whatever. I have to be so obscure because I don't want to give any story elements away, but I'm again, we say it kind of over and over again, but the words tend to, he does things in a different way and it pushes my art in a different way. And so if it's going to be spiritual, I'm all in on everything I do for Killadelphia. And so if it's going to be spiritual and fields of lilacs and things like that, I'm just going to try to go balls to the wall, because everything that comes from him in these scripts it's incredible. And I try to push it as far as humanly possible.
Yeah. And I think it really shows. Can you tell us a little bit, how did you two come together for this project?
We met in rehab. It was it was a Tuesday.
The start to any good story.
It was Tuesday. I needed some clean pee, and he said, I've been good this week, and he saved each other.
We did good on our confessionals, and we were allowed to.
There you go.
No, a guy asked me to.
Rigorous honesty is the program.
Yes, a guy hired me to interview Jason for an art book, and we just kept meeting afterwards and talking, and I would pitch him things and he would hate them. Universally, he would hate everything that I would say as soon as I started talking. And you could see it on his face. He was trying to be cordial.
Harsh.
He's from the Midwest, so they have a folksy thing there where they try not to make you feel bad to your face. And
we're very passive aggressive here. I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, it's fallen off. He's full LA now, but it's fallen off because he'll just say no, like without remorse, any concern for my feelings. And we just kept talking and eating and talking and eating, and then one day I pitched him this idea that was, I think it was Hamilton meets Dracula meets Sanford and Son. And that was the one that he responded to. And I thought, at the time he may have been drinking. And, and the next day, I think we talked and he said, that thing that you were talking about, do you have it on paper? Have you written it? And I was like, a little bit, not a lot. And he encouraged me to, add some more elements to it, and we started the pitching process.
Very cool. And I know, Rodney, for you, this was your first big venture into creator-owned stuff, because you had done Lando, you had done, you had done Quincredible, you had done Falcon, but this is kind of your voice and like your passion behind this project.
Yeah, I mean, I look at those books before as sort of boot camp. Like Jason had been doing this for a while, and I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't take me very seriously, I think. And so I needed to sort of go through a learning phase to get to a place where I figured out not only what my voice was, but what could motivate me enough to continue month after month to come up with these stories and keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jason, what element was it that finally put you over the edge of like, yes, this is definitely something that I am invested in now?
It's all him. There's vampire stuff, there's horror stuff, but literally it was, it was hard enough for him to pitch me on each element as we went. Like every time he would talk about, the founding fathers, it would take me a minute. It would jar my brain, and it took me a minute. Like, and so, no, inevitably there was a script, and the script was goddamn brilliant. So I was just like, from that point forward, I'm just like, okay, like, you follow your gut and you follow talent, and I'm just like, this is something I want to do. This is a unique thing. This is where I want to go. And that was a big deal, because I was taking I was picking the project to take a leap from Spawn, and this was like, yeah, I was like, all right, let's do it. And there was always, we both came at it, pretty choppy and at the beginning, and now like it's a good machine, and the books, I don't know, I feel like now we talk about it, now we just kind of try to top each other, like top our own work each time, like,
right,
like what we ever, like, oh my god, that was the best thing we've ever done, and then now we're like, yeah, let's go for 12, so yeah, I feel like now we're just kind of seeing what we can do.
Well, that's kind of the double-edged sword of setting the bar so high every time that it's like, okay, now we got to top that. And I mean, gosh, so far that bar just keeps going up and up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we kind of talked about it behind the scenes, but for me personally, Killadelphia is a really cool book. This was my venture into independent comics. I had been a DC guy, relatively new into the comic scene. But Killadelphia was one of those books. A buddy recommended it to me. He's like, we got vampires and we got John Adams running around. And I was just like, all right, I got to know how those two elements come together. Now, for me, it blew me away right off the bat. So, Rodney, what kind of influences did you have that inspired this story?
I grew up with a love of vampire lore, whether it was the Hammer films or Salem's Lot, Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was a myriad of influences from a number of places. But I'd never really seen there was a point when you start to say about vampires in general that they live forever and they can go to sleep for 200 years and then they wake up and they just want blood. And it felt like a waste. You were leaving a lot on the field of immortality, that there was more to this whole thing. And so for me, it was asking questions like, when they're in the coffin and they're in a hibernation state, what could you do with that?
Yeah, so like what happens in that 200 years?
Yeah, that there's still something happening in that existence. And then the transition from humanity to being a vampire, there's something in that. What do you take with you? What do you leave? What do you hold on to? So that type of stuff.
Right.
Is it just me that hears other people, or am I losing my mind?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear other individuals.
Same.
Yeah. Anyways, so you got your main characters. Were there any real life influences on those? Were those people that you knew in your life that you kind of brought into that, folded into that?
Not really. I mean, I think the composites certainly of ways of thinking. As far as the father-son relationship, that's based on a lot of my relationship with my father and my son, and just the nature of difficulty in those relationships, but also a commitment to making them better. Other than that, everybody else is sort of, they are who they are as far as the stories. They serve the story more so than me.
Well, that's kind of, what you get when you go into the creator-owned stuff. You don't have, characters where you have backlogs of history and character traits that you have to adhere to. You can kind of make these characters what you want them to be, evolve them how you want to evolve them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they sort of evolve themselves. After a while, they take on a life and a voice and a personality of sorts in my head. So it's always about, the problem now is, as the cast grows, how do you service all of them in a relatively short amount of time? Abigail takes up a certain amount of space because she's the antagonist, but there's so many protagonists that giving them all, some moments to shine is becoming a challenge, but it's a good challenge.
Now, does your background in, you have a rich history in television, movies, does your background in that help you out at all? Or is it almost counteractive and like, the way I did things here is completely different than the comic method?
Yeah, I had to sort of put that away because, it hurt me when I was writing Falcon because I was so used to writing for actors that I sort of knew their voices and, they move. And so I could use my imagination with that. But with a comic, it's up to the reader to interpret what's happening with that image. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was just more about that, again, the learning curve of the books prior to get to a place where I found my process and a way to sort of actualize my voice where it's true to the book and not to the other mediums I service with writing.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with comic books then, Jason, you're just as much part of telling the story as, the written, so what challenges were there between the two of you of like figuring out, like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what we want?
We can butt heads on just about anything, but for whatever reason, everything on Killadelphia, we're just like, we share the same aesthetic. We love the same horror movies. Like he references a thing, let's do an homage to this. I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I was like, oh, I was thinking about this character. What if this? And he was like, oh, that's fun. And it's all of the creative side of Killadelphia is fairly flows. I feel like.
Yeah, there's never been a time where I had one idea in my head and he didn't surpass whatever it was that I had in my head. So,
Rodney, how familiar were you with Jason's work on Spawn before you guys worked together?
I don't think. Were you on Spawn when we first started? Were you on Spawn then? Okay, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, you were. I only knew his art from that art book, and then I went to his house, and he had a bunch of like really sad people doing sad things that he had painted on the wall. And
sounds like a charming entryway you have.
Oh
there,
my
Jason.
God, it's perfect in October. It's perfect in October.
I just might paint a little.
Depressing, kind of.
Yeah, if you put up some black lights or something and you just flicker them a little bit, it's a perfect haunted house.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about the tone of Killadelphia, it was like it fit perfectly Jason's imagery. And I was like, you know, he can be problematic, but man, can he draw?
The risk versus the reward is worth it in that case, huh?
Yes.
All right. So tell us a little bit, Rodney. You're working on. You've got the deal with HBO, but you also have Zombie Love Studios going. Tell us a little bit of where that's at.
Well, Jason's a part of that too. He can talk about it as well. But right now,
great. Go ahead, Mister.
There are 3 books in production. There's Blackula, which is the MGM property, got the license to, and doing a sort of reboot on that.
Very cool.
There's a ghost story set in a mental asylum called Crownsville. And there's a book, the story, which is partially by the rapper Exhibit, called Florence and Normandy. It's an alien attack story. And
very cool.
So we're working on those 3 right now and in the assembly phase of those as we speak.
Very cool. Now, are you both working on all 3 of those projects together?
I'm writing it, and Jason is overseeing a lot of the art duties and the various artists, and just making sure we don't embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, so you guys are really seeing a lot of each other these days,
right.
huh?
We talk a lot and we text a lot. We tend, when we see each other a lot, it becomes violent. I mean, there have been times where we physically had to be separated. So we aren't physically in the same space, but we tend to text each other like we're married in a way. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's never good morning, good night, any of that. It's like, why'd you do that? I don't know. I'm sorry. It's always agitating. It's always heightened.
That's funny to hear because, I've seen interviews with you both and you have a very almost brotherly, relationship. I had one person actually, give me some advice. So here's an off the wall question. Which one of you 2 would win in a fight?
Oh, he would. He's
younger. Just like that, huh?
Oh yeah, he's younger. He's
that cool.
There are times when you lack emotions where you could hurt someone and just not care. And Jason falls within that spectrum. If I hit Jason really hard, I'd feel guilty. And that guilt would make me pull back the next punch, which would give him an end. It's just like in any horror movie where you think Jason's dead and you don't want to hurt him anymore. And then Jason rises up and he kills the person that could have killed him if he had done the right thing. It's a lot like that with this Jason too. So yeah, Jason would win and I'm bigger than him. I'm sure I'm stronger than he is. But Jason has a ferocity. I don't know what it's attached to, but really angry guy. So Jason will win easy.
It's that liquid courage.
Well, no, he's like that sober. So it's
true. I don't feel pain like most people.
No, hell no. It's like Wolverine kind of, but less hair.
The pain comes out in the art, not in the emotion. Yeah. So I was actually given that advice.
I was just gonna say.
You.
All emotion.
So Jason, you actually have a creator-owned project, Empty Zone. Is that something that really helped boost your career at all?
Empty Zone has just been a part of that. Has so far just been a part of my career, like throughout the years. From when I first started self-publishing to when I got picked up and it was published under another independent publisher, and now through Image. It's been something that it's like my growing up like a child actor. It's just like me growing up and fumbling and trying to figure out what this story was publicly. and and having some fun miniseries along the way. And now I finally kind of have like a real, over the years, I have a solid idea what these characters finally are. And so there's a relaunch planned.
Very cool.
But no, it's fun. Like, it's fun. I want to go back to what you were saying with the zombie love stuff with Rodney. Just because he said I was handling art stuff, I didn't want people to think I was just doing a ton of like I could produce all these comics. We have I'm art directing for Zombie Love, and so we have the really cool part is we have Killadelphia, and that's where you get to see me and Rodney do our thing. But Rodney, like, there's guys like Elliot Bonetti that is doing his ghost story, and Jonathan Wayshak that is doing another one of his alien attack stories. Like, so you're actually going to get to see Rodney with a whole lot of different artists and visuals throughout the Zombie Love stuff, even Blackula and things like that. So
this is what happens before you break up. Like, he starts introducing you to other people. It's like, Rodney would really get along well with, Phil Jimenez. That's what you guys
So
should
he's
meet
setting
each
you up
other.
for an easy call, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
man. It would be wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever met this guy before, Rodney? He draws a hell of a vampire. I just want to say, loves politics too. Loves politics.
Oh, that's
Okay,
funny.
though. It's all right. You'll miss me. You'll miss me.
You don't know what you got till it's gone, Jason.
It's right. I'm just saying, grass is always greener on the other side. Go on,
You never
Jason.
know.
Tell them what else you're doing. Go on else. Go.
Sooner or later, you'll be missing Rodney breathing down your neck about pages coming
Tell
in.
him. He'll miss those texts. Then he sends me a text and it bounces back because I blocked him.
All right.
Well, yeah. It's all right. Let's go on. Tell him what else you did. I'll shut up.
no, that's
Subscribe your try to reach is unavailable.
Yep.
No, I'm good. I wanted to go back because I really I'm excited.
Oh, Jason,
all the Zombie Love stuff. I like being in a position to actually be finding artists and putting them together with Rodney's words, and I'm a bit of a tyrant on these other artists just because I want everything to be just right. But I think so when these books start coming out, I'm not quite sure on the date. But when these books start coming out, they're brilliant, and they all have different flavors. They all have different everything. Like he's not pushing it enough. But
What's
really
that been like
amazing
being
stuff.
on the other side of the table for those conversations? Then being on the recruiting end.
Holy shit! Do I ever need? I apologize to every editor I've ever worked with. It's changed. It's changed a lot of how I even work. Myself. It gave me a whole different respect and a whole different view on the other side, and it showed me even in my own on my side of art and all this other stuff where I kind of needed to straighten up some points, for the people on the other side. So it was good. I think everybody should walk in the other person's shoes for a while. Like the level of empathy it creates is I have a much greater respect of time and deadlines now. Unfortunately, it took that to do it, but it did it. It did it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, walking in another's shoes. And, I think that's a little bit about what Killadelphia is kind of about, seeing things from other perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly empathy is a, I try to find themes for each issue, and empathy is one of those. So, yeah, it's a part of it.
And then now what is, I was doing a little bit of research, and I apologize. What is Amazing Comics Publishing, and how does that relate to the Zombie Love Studios?
That is the company doing business as Zombie Love Comics, because Amazing Comics was already taken from the trade office when I went in and applied for the trade.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I know you said you don't really have a timetable. How about for the series themselves? Are we looking at mini series, maybe a couple of one shots in there. See how it goes.
For the Zombie Love stuff or for the image stuff?
Yeah, for the Zombie Love stuff.
They'll come out as trades, soft cover and hardcover, and it's the whole thing in one shot. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Not doing floppies.
Okay. Was there any particular reason you wanted to go that route?
Because the floppy market, it's easy to get lost in it because there's so much. It's a glut of stuff that's there, and I've always appreciated just really well put together books that tell the complete story. And we've got monthlies with the image stuff, and that was sort of enough.
Yeah.
No, these
why pile more on your plate than you need to, and then you start to dilute everything. You spread yourself too thin, and then you're not good in any direction.
This is true.
Yeah. So, what has been your favorite part about working together?
Jason, you can answer that.
Oh boy.
I needed that time too. I needed that time myself to think of that one.
No, drink real quick. Thanks.
It's utterly painful to admit such things, but I definitely, when I first met Rodney before Killadelphia, I definitely had a different kind of pretension and bullheadedness, and I've learned a good amount from Rodney and on greater things other than our work together. Like we have a lot of dinners, we have a lot of good conversations, and we definitely spar a good amount. But we spar less. Like I've had a lot of growing up in the last year and the pandemic and all that stuff, and like it was obnoxious to see that Barnes was right a little bit on a lot of things.
Wow.
That said,
breaking news: Rodney Barnes was right.
That's one of the funnest things I like working with him.
Oh man, Rodney, how's that make you feel?
To say something? Am I supposed to say something?
You were right after all this time. Turns out.
I ruined all my squabbling with you.
But here's the thing, I guess I'm obligated to say something nice about Jason too.
No.
The thing is the passion and the amount of effort that Jason puts into his art. As a writer, certainly when you're coming from the Hollywood space, at times it could become just about commerce and you're grinding. You're just churning out the next thing. And part of the reason why I think Killadelphia is as good as it is because of Jason's an artist. He's not just an illustrator. He's not just a comic artist. He's an artist. And so writing to that has made me a better writer as far as, when I sit with the blank page, I'm thinking of Jason with clothes on, in a proper setting.
I'm a little worried that had to be specified, though.
I'm just saying because Jason is cute. I mean, we can admit that Jason is cute. So
yeah, we can say it.
So I'm thinking of
Best
Jason.
One of us here.
Of Jason's art. Oh yeah. Oh please. Jason's like a 70s action star. So for me to approach the story, I think of Jason's art, and I think of things that Jason does incredibly well, and I try to push the envelope with that, and emotionally, and I try to write to, as a fan of his, I try to write to that, and I think that has made me better. I think that has certainly created a sense of I work better with artists because I work with Jason.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much higher praise you can get there, Jason. That's pretty incredible stuff right there.
I don't.
Right.
Thank you. And no, when you were talking about the emotion of it, it made me think like this is one of the special things about Killadelphia. Like I feel like a lot of vampire movies or whatever, there's so much in the glamour of the vampire part, and there's all of the violence and there's all the action. But Killadelphia really kind of has its moments, but for the most part, it has spits and spurts of that. Like really, it's a human drama just put in a really extraordinary circumstance.
Well, at its heart, you're right. It's a human drama, but Killadelphia is a story that has a lot of a lot of heart to it, with a lot of brutality to it, and then you throw in your dashes of every once in a while we get a quip, and I just think the balance that you guys have found together, between the funny dad comments, that classic dad comment, and then the next page you got someone getting their throat ripped out. And it's just such an amazing balance that you guys have found.
And let us be clear: it's in later issues. It's not someone getting their throat ripped out. It's a 12-year-old vampire holding another child in her mouth like a dog.
Yeah, one of the most shocking panels that I've
seen. She was hungry. What's she supposed to do?
That's just the start. And so I feel like I started noticing a difference in the violence happening.
You have to be creative.
When you read things like that in the script,
creative. It started getting more.
When you read things in the script like that, do you ever give Rodney a call just to check in on him, see how he's doing?
I would call him to thank him. I was like, "Holy shit, I'm gonna draw this."
He does. He actually does. He's the first reader of the script, so his reaction is sort of what I'm working towards. If he's not offended in some way, I've failed.
It's true. He'll come up with things, and I'll just like, "Ooh, how can I make that as extreme as humanly possible?" I just keep waiting for us to get censored or something at some point, because it's going to get worse.
Those poor Boy Scouts. Those Boy Scouts. They just wanted to camp. It's like man.
Poor Boy Scouts.
Yeah, that's all I can really say. But those Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout.
And
I couldn't get what was behind it.
I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm drawing this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, has there ever been, for example, with that particular page, was every detail of that in the script for you, or was there any flair that you added to that? Was it like, she walks in, with someone in her mouth, or was that all scripted out by, the mind of Rodney Barnes?
He scripts out the actions that are happening, like has her in her mouth, like a terrier or something like that, I think was the description. And so I then go through the sketches to see what's going to be the most effective, messed up. Because logically, there's sketches of her actually holding the other little girl by the neck and things like that. I was like, what if we just go full bore, like she's holding this little girl like a chew toy? And so he'll have the initial action, and so I try to portray that or get it as extreme as possible. But then he'll have the background still have things going on, like, oh, and these other people are eating these other people, and so then I'll play around and throw heads around and that kind of a thing. There's always room to expand and play with it, and really every time he does something, he's always like, unless you come up with something better, and that kind of thing. Which I don't. I just like playing off what he does.
Well, there are times when you do. There are times when you do some stuff, and I'm like, where'd that come from? And then you do it, and I'm like, okay, he's the boss.
Is there any time in particular that stands out to you?
In regards to when he went above and beyond, or
let's say you get a page back that just completely, blows your expectation out of the water.
I think the final page of issue 13 certainly did that. Every issue has something. The Heaven and Hell double page spread in one of the books, I forget which one it was. Adam's Walking Through Time in the third issue. Any of those historical things that I know he loves to draw. That's why I put so many of them in there. He always blows history away. And the thing, too, is he captures the tone, like Purgatory. He really made it feel bleak, but not too bleak. There was a difference between Purgatory and Hell. And, his pigs on the cables. I remember the pig thing. He did that. Because he said something about...
the slug guy.
I did, but you said something about don't worry about the strings or something. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Is he back on this shit again? And it all worked. So there you go.
So you're just sitting there. You get a random text saying, "Don't worry about the strings." What runs through your mind there? So like,
Oh,
what
it's
is this
just
guy cooking up in the lab?
Jason sometimes it's a Jason text. You get used to it. It's a Jason text. It's like hey man, don't worry that they don't have feet. You go, okay. It's like you just keep doing whatever you're doing. No, you never ask questions. You just go with it. That's when he gets testy.
Now, is that something
when you start asking questions?
Now, is that something you learned by working together? Like, are there ever any text that he'll send you now that you think back to early in the series that you would have been like, what in the world is this guy talking about? And now you just kind of roll with it.
It's not so much that. It's always just him. I think, as Jason implied earlier, it's sort of a machine at this point. I just have to know when to get the script to him, what's the deadline. And, it's not as much conversation about it. Pretty much we trust each other. I know he's going to tell a really great story, and, the pressure's on me to try to come up with one.
Yeah, I mean, personally speaking, comic book is a medium of, storytelling through the text and through the art. And, I think you guys have done a really great job of, peaking in both of those areas where it just completely immersive story that, you're involved in the story itself, you're involved in the art, and, every page is just a treat. It really, really is.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And then
perfect blend.
Jason, I know that you've done
visual standpoint
with your art in the past. Have any Killadelphia pieces made it into any of your art shows?
No, the only I haven't. There's not that much Killadelphia original art. Killadelphia happened at a time when I transitioned also into digital.
Oh, okay.
But the first issue and a half exists. But the only one who actually, other than me, the only one who has any Killadelphia artwork is Rodney.
He gave me a very nice gift. He doesn't give me lots of gifts, but he gave me a very nice one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
I was gonna say that's one heck of a gift.
Cover, so
yes,
very
I have
cool.
the original cover of the first one. Yes.
I like to do the cover still traditionally, as much as I can. If there's a painted cover, there's still, I still like to work on paper and traditional media as much as possible. But then, switching over to digital just made everything a lot faster. But yeah, the Killadelphia thing is
doing the big canvas paintings for the covers.
What's that? Oh, I didn't hear it.
Like when you do Spawn, you would do the canvas painting. Are you still doing that for Killadelphia? All the covers?
Every once in a while. Not that big. The Spawn, the first issue of Spawn cover being a 5-foot canvas was a rarity. It literally was just the canvas that was available to me at the time I needed to start one. Mostly I work on like 18 by 24 for covers. But on occasion, if one really strikes me, then I'll do it big just because I want it to be a painting as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't know that you did the interiors digitally and the covers, the old school way. Now, did that originate as just something that you were really like, you know what, I still want to have ties to physical art, or was it more of just like a convenience thing?
It's an enjoyment. Like there's the secondary market of gallery and selling your work, but also there's, at the time, especially being early in digital, I was still more comfortable traditional. And so I still like starting the pieces traditionally, and then I tend to finish them up digitally.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just like painting. Like if I'm gonna paint, it just feels it's hard sometimes to just do the whole thing digitally. Like it's just such a medium to get your hands in. So it's fun to play with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now with everything, obviously the world's been a pretty different place, to say the least, in the last year or so. Were either of your creative processes, the way you go about doing things, was that affected at all?
It's effective for for the better for me. I had more time to sit in a room and write. I didn't have to drive to the studio every day, so that certainly helped.
Yeah, saving precious driving time and getting those pages in instead of it.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
No, mine was chaos. I have younger children than Rodney. It was a whole. It's a whole different, homeschooling and staying at home. When a page takes anywhere between 4 to 8 hours to do, and you're lucky to get about 3 hours a day, it makes it iffy. But it was a rough year. But like every issue showed up on time. Every issue got better. And I feel like that last year really just kind of put the screws to us, and it's kind of a shit or get off the pot kind of a year. And a lot of people didn't pull through, whether financially or whatever. But like it was, I don't know, it made me work harder than I've ever worked, and I feel like that's kind of prepped me for the future. Like I work better now. Like my time is more efficient. It really helped me with my time management. 13.
Look at that.
It's a Jason cover. I just found I used to find money in the cushions of my couch, and now I find Killadelphia issues. And so I just reached down. I just reached in a pile, and it was
look what I got here.
treasure trove of Killadelphia issues.
I love
Are you
it.
sitting on Killadelphia?
I wasn't actually sitting on them.
That's awesome.
I just happened to see, like, why am I actually answering your question? It was a box, and it was about to fall, and I reached and I saw, and it was Killadelphia stuff. So there you go, Jason. Jesus.
Jason's got the hard-hitting questions. We all need the answers, too.
Jason needs to be hit hard. I'll say that. But, yes.
With love.
So with Killadelphia, we're on arc 3 right now. In your head, do you have a goal? Do you have I want to do X amount of arcs to this? Do you have any of it plotted out already?
I've got about 6 arcs in my head. It sort of evolves every month as to certain elements that I want to add, and what's going on in the world and how I feel, and different things sort of play a role into how the story actualizes itself. But I've got 6, so that means 10, and or until I just can't take Jason anymore, until I just decide to find some self-worth and self-esteem, and to say, I don't need this. And he's already, publicly telling you how great my work is with other artists. So
he's already trying to.
He's already kind of pushing me to the curb, and that's cool. And that is cool. We did what we did. Maybe that's the breaking story. It's over for Rodney and Jason. So it was a good run.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened, Rodney.
It's not because of me, America. It's not because of me. It's because of him.
Oh, you heard it first. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, with the blend of things you do in Killadelphia, you've got John Adams in there, a founding father. Is there any other historical figures, maybe another founding father you'd like to somehow write into the mix?
It's funny. I answered this question this morning in this way. The person that shows up in 13, it wasn't like he wasn't hinted to. Like some people go, wow, where'd that come from? And it's like, well, it was already sort of he was in the story earlier. And there are others. I'd say 4 or 5 other folks from history that have been hinted towards, or that I think could certainly fit the bill. I think the idea at this point is to make the most of the characters that we have and take them as far as we can go. And then if something fits narratively, stick them in. If not,
going back to what you said earlier, you do have quite a few protagonists that, as readers, I can personally tell you we're invested in. Now, going forward, who are you most excited to kind of dive deeper into?
It was funny. I would love to put Gary Coleman in as a vampire. I think they all have their virtues and vices. Seesaw takes me down a certain philosophical idea about life and, heaven, hell, afterlife, and mortality. So he's sort of a favorite. But they all have their virtues, and vices. But I dig them all. Abigail, when I'm angry and things aren't going well, I can write a great Abigail story because she just kills people and she has no remorse. But they all have their own appeal in certain ways.
And now I know you've had the backstories in the issues for a while now with the werewolves. Will we ever see any, crossover between that main story and those backups?
It's possible. Yesterday, I came upon an interesting anecdote about Killadelphia that I thought could act as a bridge for that. But they both have their hands full right now, or their paws.
True.
One has hands and one has paws. So both of them have the end of the appendages at the end of the arm full. So, it's possible.
Yeah, kind of let it do its own thing for now. Now, Jason, do you have a favorite issue? What's your favorite issue of Killadelphia that you've done so far?
The last one I did. What was it?
14.
14. every issue I finished is my favorite one. Rodney said to let him know whenever that didn't happen.
Yep. That'll be a sign of the end is near. When it gets to a place where I can't, it's like, why are we doing this, fellas?
So no jumping the shark in your plans is what you're saying.
The Gary Coleman issue that's coming.
Right.
Gary Coleman.
I'm going to paint him on the cover.
So that's when we'll know. That's when we'll know.
But you can put his whole body
Gary Coleman will be there.
So, yeah.
Gary Coleman is the harbinger of the end time, is what I'm hearing.
Who knew? Who knew who those little Amazonians got to? That Gary Coleman was the first,
Oh, boy.
What you talking about, John Adams?
Right.
Well, yeah.
Oh, man. That is too good.
Yeah.
We put Mulder and Scully's in there. I guess we might as well.
Oh, yeah, man. Evil Knievel. There's a whole lot of people that.
I mean, really, you have all of history to kind of work with.
Yes.
Mr. T.
Evil Knievel.
There's a lot of people that it could go in Killadelphia seamlessly. The $6 million man. All my childhood heroes.
I love it. Jason, now on your end, is there any characters you'd love to see written into the book? I want a chance to draw this person.
Oh my god. I mean, he's already werewolves are my favorite thing in the world, and so I already got to start drawing werewolves. No, I now I'm just thinking about what the things to add in there. No, I know I'm drawing a blank. I like all the stuff that he throws in there to make me work at it. I like Kolchak showing up for a little cameo and things like that. Little cameos. There's always tons of little Rod Serlings and the Mummy and things like that. But no, you know what's weird? It's the weird thing with Killadelphia. It fulfills me. There's elements happening with the new arc that now I get to draw this, and I wanted to draw that for a while. So, no, I'm getting all my horror jollies out. I think it's great. And then we have a spinoff coming.
Very
I don't know
cool.
how much we can talk about, but we can.
Yes, well, I have no idea what we can talk about. I guess Greg would have to tell us.
In vague terms, but it's just about ready to start being really public. So that's all I'll dance about it here.
Hey, you know what? That little piece is enough. Just to know that there's something else coming down the pipeline. That's pretty cool to know.
Tons of stuff coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely.
The hard part is being silent about it and having to not be able to give all the stuff away, but tons of stuff is coming down the pipeline.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, going into being so tough to be silent about it, I mean, you guys have built up quite the following, on social media, and that, where you got fan pages and everything, hounding at you. What's coming next? Can you give us any details? So yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. You're sitting there bursting at the seams, like I have so many details, but I can't give you any of them.
It's painful. It's painful to have things coming in and seeing them. It's really like I just want to scream it every time something gets done that we can move further. I'm like.
Now, typically, what's the turnaround on stuff like that when you find out something and when it goes public? Can you give us any little insider look at how long do you have to hang on to that information?
Essentially, we are just waiting for there's a certain amount of work. It's through Image, and so it's a certain amount of work that you complete before solicitations happen.
Right.
And we're just at that point. All the work's ready. We're getting ready to solicit and announce, and then we can, basically we're close to a point of announcing anyway. But I would say easily, in the probably what is this? We're already in June. I was gonna say this summer.
Somehow we are already in June. Yes.
Officially what the stuff is.
Yep, we're here. Summer here.
Well, that is very exciting, guys. And Rodney, I know you've got to run.
I do. I've been texting
again?
people in between to tell them that I'm coming. Yes.
Yeah. Really cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day, out of your week for us. Thank you for giving us some good teases at what's to come from you two. And, I wish you both the best. I hope you're all safe and well. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate all the support. Anytime you guys want to reach out and talk, I'm happy to. I can't speak for Jason because as the world learned today, we just broke up.
Yeah, unreal.
So it's going to be a little tricky for a while, but we'll figure out something. The kids will go to the right home, mine. But yeah.
The end all happened here. You guys all saw the end.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, you guys. Thanks,
live on YouTube. If you listen to the podcast, you missed out.
You guys rock.
Yes.
Thank you. Cannot thank you guys enough. Keep on keeping on. I mean, I'm loving every single issue. Happy to have Killadelphia back in my life.
Same.
Fantastic. Likewise.
Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us.
I gotta try while you're here, Jason. I got people asking.
Oh, we got a question?
You broke up, Wes.
No, it went away.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, guys. Thanks. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, if you guys have questions that you didn't get to, you can hit us up on Twitter. The little thing is scrolling there. We'll answer.
Yes.
There we go. Send all your questions to Jason and Rodney. Just bombard them.
Mostly.
I'll answer most of them. I'll answer most.